Hey folks, it's Ben. I'm here to shoot a video on clocks. That's why we're putting it on the Red Barn Homestead channel. And what we're going to do is we're getting rid of daylight savings time, so we're switching to standard time. So we need to switch all the clocks back an hour, which is a daunting task in this house because I tend to collect clocks and they tend to be everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this awesome adventure. On our Instagram, we'll take a picture of every clock we change, but we have a lot of clocks to change, so let's get to it. The easiest way for us to start is to start at one part of the house and just kind of circle that floor, and then we'll go downstairs to the clock area and we'll do those clocks too. So let's get started. We'll start right here with the one above me here, which is an easy, simple electric clock. Alright, so we have this, this is an interesting clock. We got it a few years ago at a rummage sale. It's actually porcelain. It has an electrical mechanism in it, but conveniently just the turning knob. You just have to pull, and the exact time is 10:36. So we'll back it up to, if I can I back this one up? Off to a bad start. There we go. I think it only wants to go forward. Poop. So we'll go to 10:36. Nobody enjoys the long ones. You gotta go all the way around. 10:36. That's 9:36. And 36. And it has a make on it. It's not very well printed. It's a model something, but if you're curious, just leave me a comment. Clock one. Next clock is the living room clock. This is a cheap dollar store clock, but it's before I understood the difference between the heights of where the letters go, and the glass pane fell out and broke. So we run this one just open, but it's a mechanism I put in. I got off eBay. Amazing video. We'll link to it right now. This one's super easy. We just back it up. Current time is 10:38. 5, 6, 7, 8. This one's good to go. Okay, next clock is by the living room clock. This is over our video editing computer. It's a large indoor mirror clock. It's a ticker, so it goes tick tick. It's a quartz, but the nub is pretty quiet. So it's also just a normal type of dollar store mechanism. So we're gonna back it up to 10:39. There's 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
The other way.
Yeah, that's 40. Yeah, so there we go. 39. This one's kind of a bear to hang. Okay, so we're 6 feet away from the other glass clock. So now we have my, what's this called again?
Kit Kat clock.
A Kit Kat clock. It's the cool clock. Now these guys I don't actually have to take off the wall, but you're only supposed to rotate them forward. So it's currently 10:40. If you're playing at home, it'll be fun to watch the time change. So we'll go ahead to 10:40. 9, 10, 40. So that's in the kitchen. This is over the doorway. Probably once again 6 feet from the other clock here. This one, it's store-bought, and it's the one that clued me into let's get tickless mechanisms here. But it's just the basic clock again. So we'll also back this one up to 10:40. Which is in the walkway. It's a chicken clock. This has been modified with a tickless mechanism. Once again, it's one of those where it's 10:42, and we just roll it back to 10:42. The hands are not quite right on this one. Okay, next clock is cool. My wife likes copper, so it's a copper clock. Did we buy it new, or is it from the rummage sale?
Dollar store.
Dollar store copper clock. It is a ticker. It's one of the 3 in the top part of the house. Basic mechanism. It's 10:42 still. Let's back it on up to 10:42. And that one is done. All clocks include digital clocks. On the stove we go clock. That turns it off. And it's currently 10:44, so let's hit down to that. This is an easy one. That's good to go. Microwave is also easy. Just type in clock. Make sure it matches the stove because that's annoying. Press start, and that's that. I think if I press clock again, it'll make it PM, but it's AM. Alright, next clock is a lunar clock, got at the rummage sale this year. I've forgotten how to change the time on it. I think you can just back it up. So it's now 10:46. I'm not going to set the phase because it shouldn't move the moon, but that's 10:46 on that clock. And then this is a 70s one that I did change to a tickless mechanism, but I had to kind of work with the hands because I wanted to keep the original hands to this clock. But it's just literally a basic clock again. It was at 10:46, so I'll back it up some. 10:45. Yeah, 10:46, so I'll go a little ahead. I like the 70s vibe off this clock for sure. Okay, so the next clock's actually in the bedroom. It's the only clock in here, believe it or not. And it projects on the ceiling, so I know what time it is when I wake up. Now the machine itself is awful. It's one of these, I'm going to not say inexpensive clocks, but it's one of those where it does everything type clock, and the AM and PM are off. And it always takes me about 5 minutes to figure out how to change the time. But you gotta hold something down. Yeah, look at that. So we'll go to 11 a.m. 10:49 is the actual time. There we go, and hit mode again, English. Aha! So it's 10:49. Alright, another complicated digital clock, but not that crazy. This is the furnace clock, and I think I do edit schedule, set clock day. Keep pressing this button. There we go. And it's currently 10:51, so I should be able to go down to 10:51 so that our furnace turns on at the right time during the day. Done. That's done. Another clock outside. Typical cheap clock. Back it up to 10:52. And this one's easy because it's got the little minute markers. And then we'll hang it back up. Alright, coming downstairs slowly, we have this clock in the washer room. Another basic clock, so back it up to 10:54. It's 55, 54, and it'll be good to go. Now we're downstairs, wife's craft room. I think this is the clock that I did the video on, the stop ticking clocks clock, actually. Yep. It's the copper one. It's still going right at it, so cheap mechanism, just back it up. We were talking 10:56 right now. Not too far. We have an electric clock, rummage sale. You have to plug it in to run it. It's currently I cheated. I plugged it in and I accidentally set it to the correct time. It is 11 o'clock. So it's just a turn mechanism back here and a little triangle slot to hold it up. I don't usually leave it plugged in, but for the sake, I typically run my clocks the day of time change, so there's that. The regulator clock, I got this at a rummage place, not the actual rummage sale, but it's may have been a cool clock at one time, but now it is just a regular clock with a pendulum mechanism that doesn't work very well, so I took the weight off of it. It tends to go back and forth, but it's just decorative pendulum. And then in the back here, it's a C battery power clock though, but there's my turning wheel, so I should be able to back it to 11 o'clock. And a little bit past, and we're good there on this one. It's kind of a neat homemade-ish one. I like it for that reason. Next below it is my favorite clock because it has the time and the date, and it runs on one C battery, and it's got the cool operating 1 joule mechanism here. The time switch is here, so if I turn it back, no, it's another one where I set it to the right time. The battery died in this one, so it had stopped working, and there's a video on this clock actually. But it slips about 5 minutes a week, so it's not obviously not a clock I can use as a primary clock, but it is a super cool clock. So we got that going for us, but you just turn the mechanism. I did it to this one too. This one was actually, I got it at the rummage sale this year. It had dead batteries in it, so we've juiced them up as well. It's not special in any way. It's a fashion clock. Battery for the mechanism and battery for the swinger, which is pretty common. And just turn the dial. So easy there, Chief. It's kind of just a pretty clock. This clock up here was the clock my wife actually made when she etched glasses and things like that. I accidentally get her in the video. It's a typical, I think I switched the mechanism over, is what I did, to a smooth sweep. So it keeps great time. It's currently 11:02, so we'll back her up. 11:02, and there's that one. This one's going to be a pain. This one also demonstrates the differences in some of these back mechanisms have a hook and some don't, depending on the type of clock you're building. So this one did have a hook mechanism because it requires it to hang on the wall. Next is the maybe a yard sale clock. I'm not sure. It's an Apollo, quartz driven, changing the mechanism out. So it's a knot ticker. And you just roll her back to the time, which in this case is now 11:03. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Hands might be off a little bit on this one too. When you change the mechanism, you have the ability to mess it up. So the first clocks here, I don't actually have a winding key for, but it's a West Clocks typical bedroom style clock. Pull on the button in the back here and it will go back and forth. This is a 70s model. There's another one, West Clocks. There's a very popular brand. Make sure I'm winding the right thing here. This is the key for it. I only run them twice a year. And I usually give them the full wind. And then to set the time, which is currently 11:07. This one you don't even have to pull. You just go. And the alarm went off. 11:05, 6, 7. And she's slowly ticking. The next clock here, rummage sale, yard sale. It's a weird clock. The mechanism itself is just a cheapie. And it's currently 11:07, so we'll back her up to 11:07. And it's just one of the loudest ticking clocks I have. It's a cool display. This is the matriarch of my entire clock fleet. It's another West Clocks from the States. This was my grandmother's clock. And it's just a basic clock in box. And it's the alarm ticker. Pull on it, change the time to, what are we talking here? 11, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. There we go. And it has a sweeter tick. I think I've done the ticking before, so I don't have to review those. This one's currently out of service. I got a video series on this one. It's a pendulum clock, an actual sprung round pendulum clock. However, it's not working, so I've got to look at that. And then I had to buy a universal key for it because it did not come with a key. Another West Clocks, and we'll just kind of silver. This is a silver bell. That one didn't have a model, and that's a monogram. But we'll go ahead and. This is kind of a clunkier clock. I may have gone through these before. So anyway, I'll just go through and set them all. And this one is 11:10. It goes tick, tick, tick. This is where all the kids who live downstairs go crazy because all the clocks are ticking. They're neat because they have glow-in-the-dark hands. So at night, in theory, if they were dark, you could see them. Let's go to 7:10 on you. 11:10. That girl. This was my wife's clock when she was a kid. You had this in your horse trailer, and so it was used to wake them up for shows or whatever. They're 24-hour clocks, all of these, so you got to wind them every day. And let's go to 11:10 on this girl as well. This one has a cool second hand. It moves with the action. And then the alarm set is actually a little dial there. This little British clock actually was purchased in London. It's currently not working. The battery hookup's kind of funky on it. But we'll set it so it's at least right now at 7:10. But it's just a little ticker clock. It goes tick, tick, tick. This was definitely a yard sale clock. It runs on a AA. It was in there. That AA has been there for at least 2 years now, so it's pretty good. And it's obviously it's keeping the right time. Pull on it and back it up. It's keeping the right time actually.
What planet was at the right time? I said it was 12:20.
Oh well, pretty close. Another ticker here. This is a super cheap, very cheap clock. It's plastic, everything. And we'll back it up to, what time is it again? 11, 12-ish. These clocks will run the day and then they'll run out. There's my other key. Is it 12? Alright. Someone would notice that on the video. So. Yes. It's not ticking. Maybe it's another sick clock. Wow, what a slow tick. I don't know if the people in the video can hear it over the other clocks now. It gets loud in here. It's a digital thermometer. Another clock that needs winding. I have one similar, don't I? Yeah, all kind of the same. Really glow in the dark. To its detriment, actually. And that's the alarm. Pull it back. We'll back her up to forwarder, I guess, to 11. We're about 12 now. Like so. Just purchased this one, so I probably don't have a battery in it yet. And I do actually. And its time is way off. There's 11, and it's currently 11:14-ish. And it's just kind of a pretty clock. This one I've never figured out how to change the digital one. The buttons are weird. I've played with it for a while, but the analog clock is easy. It's got a little dial on the side here, so you can just back it up. And it's accurate. And this is it's a weird little one. It's a travel clock, so this base folds up, but it can fold down. It has this clock, a snooze button, a digital clock, a date, or timer. It's an interesting integration between analog and digital. I should do a video on it at some time. And then here is a little wind-up clock. No idea where I got this one. Might have been a gift. And the time mechanism is here. Oh, we're almost there. And it also has a moving second hand, which is also cool. Alright, now we're in the bathroom downstairs. This clock's to help keep the kids on time. It's kind of a cute one. I think we got it at Walmart, so it's not that cute. It's currently 11:14. So there's 11:14. It runs on, oh yeah, it's just a AA cheap clock mechanism. Alright, so this is in my son's room. He liked it so much, I just let him have it. It's a pendulum clock, but it's not super cool. It's just a normal store mechanism, and I've taped it so it doesn't wiggle. We'll just kind of slip over here, back it up. It keeps fairly good time. Back it up like so, and I think this one's hard to hang together. So you have to set the time on the projection and set the time on the clock. And that's just an easy time, hour. We'll move it to 11 a.m. And then with this little arm here, we'll also set it to time. We'll switch it to 11 a.m. 11:19 is close enough. The clock says 11:17, but I'm not that finicky. He can set it, but it's been adjusted. I think that's it for time. Oh, we have one more clock to go. Okay, and the clock was a gift. It's a bicycle one. It's in our spare bedroom. And we'll back it up. It's not right. It's actually 11:17 exactly, so we'll back it up to 11:15, 17. And it's a ticker without a second hand, and it just sits up here. And it's more decorative than anything, but it is a clock. And I think that's it for clocks. So if you guys have any questions on clocks, we're not doing car clocks. Those are basic enough. If you have any questions on clocks, go ahead and leave them. If you got any comments, that'd be cool too. Subscribe to our channel, Red Barn Homestead, for more amazing awesomeness. The picture behind is actually of my wife, drawn by her mom. Subscribe to our channel, and you guys have a good day.